One of the main components of the Robinson curriculum is using Saxon math. And there's a lot of talk over what edition should I be using? What's the difference between the first edition and the second edition? Where can I find these old answer keys? Is there something wrong with the newer editions? Should I be using the softcover or the hardcover? All these questions and much more we are going to discuss in this video, so stay tuned.
Our house.
Hi everybody, this is Karen. Welcome back to our channel called Our House. And in this video, we're going to go over Saxon 54, 65, 76, and 87. There's going to be a second part to this video, a part 2 going over the higher up books. So for right now, we're just going to focus on 54 to 87. What are the differences between all the different editions, where you can find them? Is it really that important which edition you are using? Now, the two main sources for the information that I'm using in this video come from the Homeschool Hero, an in-depth explanation of the different Saxon editions, which is very informative. I will put a link in the description below. And also these notes from Matthew Robinson. Matthew Robinson, of course, is one of the original Robinson curriculum users. He used this program, his dad created it, and so he has a lot of insight into this. So I'm going to be reading some of his recommendation and notes, and again from Homeschool Hero. Now, perhaps the most important question is, does it really matter which edition you are using? I would hate for moms new to homeschooling, new to the Robinson curriculum, to get stressed out over this and think that only the older editions work and they're on the hunt and the lookout, when that's not really the case. As long as you use the book titles recommended by the Robinson curriculum, then you're going to have a great firm foundation in math no matter which editions you have. Now, there are a couple of books that are not recommended by the Robinson curriculum, but they go under different titles, so I'm not going to mention them in this list that I'm about to read to you. These are the recommended Saxon math books to use with the Robinson curriculum. We have Saxon Math 5.4, 6.5, 7.6, 8.7, Algebra Half, Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Advanced Math, and Calculus. So as long as you use those titles, again, any edition will work, then you're going to have a great firm foundation on math. You're going to be considered well educated by the time you complete high school. With that being said, there have been revision changes to the editions over time, and that's what we're going to go over in this video. So the next question would be, is there any difference between the soft cover homeschool editions versus the hardcover student editions? Is there any difference? And no, the content is the same. It's just, different bind. Everyone will have their preferences though, I'm sure. And I have read that the hardcovers just hold up better. If you have more children that you want them to last you for, then I do like the hard covers because I feel like they do last longer. They're more durable. If there's a spill, the pages seem to hold up better than those thin soft cover books. Now, the changes in these books have mostly just been formatting changes and an increase in length in the explanation. So for example, the earlier books had shorter explanations and a simpler format, and this made them, really great for self-teaching, for a child to be able to read these lessons, these short lessons, and get to the problems. Versus now, they have introduced warm-up boxes, investigation lessons. So generally, it's recommended that you just skip these extra things and just go straight into the practice and the problem sets. You don't need to do all of the other newer things. Keep in mind that the main strength of the Saxon books are the problem sets. So no matter which edition you're using, as long as you're doing the problem sets, then you're going to be fine. Now, I want to make a note here that you can order your Saxon math books through the Robinson curriculum website. It's very convenient when you're placing an order for your CD set that you also order your math books, whatever you need. You don't have to go looking for them. I believe you even get a discount as well. However, just note they are going to be the newer editions because that is what is available right now. That is what is in print, obviously. But like I mentioned earlier in this video, as long as you use those titles recommended and you just focus on those problem sets, you're going to be fine. Even with the newer editions, RC still feels like this is the best math program for this type of learning. So rest assured, if you place your order and you get the newer editions, that it's fine. All right, so let's dive in a little bit deeper to Saxon Math 5.4. I have here a first edition and I have here a second edition. Now, I just learned this from another channel that the 2 dots in the letters mean that it's the second edition. So if you're out looking at used Saxon books and you're not sure if it's a first edition or a second edition, one way to tell right away is by the dots. So that's something I just learned. I thought that was pretty cool. So again, this is first, second. So let's dive into some of these differences. So again, the second hardcover edition and the third edition softcover have the same identical math content on the inside. So that's something to keep in mind. In fact, they are almost word for word and problem for problem in the same textbooks. One of the differences, and maybe an advantage to you, is that the third edition softcover one comes with a homeschool solutions manual. So that's something also to keep in mind. However, most homeschooling families feel like they don't need a solutions manual until they get to Saxon 7.6 at least. So if you're out there and looking for these editions to purchase and you see a less expensive third edition kit without the solutions manual versus a more expensive kit with the solutions manual, then probably most people would recommend to take the more inexpensive one because you don't really need a solutions manual for 5.4. All right, so let's talk about now Saxon 6.5. This is the first edition, and again, see the 2 dots? This is the second edition, and we're also going to talk about the third edition. So what are some of the differences? Well, first of all, this should be started after full completion of Saxon 5.4. With a lot of curriculums, you kind of just move along grade after grade, but there's no real grades here or when or any kind of definite timelines. You should be at this book by this age. It's different for everybody. Different kids start 5.4 at different ages. So as long as you finished this book, 5.4, then you can move on to 6.5. It's just that simple. Also recommended to be successful with this textbook is that you scored at least an 80 or better in the last 4 or 5 tests in the Math 5.4 textbook. Now, a lot of Robinson curriculum families don't do the test. That's up to you. You know if your child has a good grasp on the material when it's time to move on. Now, just like with 5.4, the hardcover second edition has no differences than the third edition softcover. They have the same identical math content on the inside. And the third edition also comes with a solutions manual, but if you have a tight budget, it's not really something you absolutely need to purchase. You still don't need the solutions manual at this point. And also, again, calculators should not be used at this level. All right, let's talk about the book considered to be the kingpin. This is a challenging book, and that is 7.6. This is a first edition here. And of course, you should only start this book if you've completely finished this book. And again, they recommend no lower score than 80 on the last 4 or 5 tests in the 6.5 course. And again, you know your student if you want to do tests or not. And again, there's no real difference between the hardcover first, second, and third versus the soft fourth edition. This is a point though where they do recommend that you purchase a solutions manual because this is a challenging book. And still, calculators should not be used at this level. All right, let's talk about Saxon 8.7. Again, 8.7 should only be started after successfully completing 7.6. And again, there's no real difference between the hardcover second edition and the softcover third edition. There is a difference in the second edition that it does not have pre-algebra printed on it. And still, calculators should not be used at this level. Okay, so let's talk about for a moment hunting down those older editions and old answer keys that match those editions. You want to be careful because the first edition answer book might not match the second or third edition answer book. So how do you find them? How do you make sure that they line up? This part can be a little intimidating or confusing. Now, I showed you how you really don't have to go through all that trouble. The newer editions are fine as long as you stick to those titles. But if you do want to look for those older editions, if you do want those hard covers for durability purposes, then I'm going to share with you some of the best ways I have found to find them. Now, the best way to search for them and to make sure that you have an answer key that matches is to look up the ISBN numbers. And in the description of this video, I will put a link to my blog where I will have that information for you, where you can see all the first edition ISBN numbers and some of the other editions. So that's going to be really helpful when you search. You can search on eBay, you can search on all kinds of used book websites, even your homeschool local resource center stores. About half of the books that I have were given to me by a friend, and the other half I have found at homeschool resource centers, even with the answer key. So very helpful to be able to see which edition is which and which answer keys match with which. All right, so that's it for this video. In the next video, we'll go over algebra half and up, same thing, the differences and things like that. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I will do my best to answer them. There is an RC Saxon math group on Facebook that is very helpful, as well as the official Robinson curriculum Facebook group. They also have a lot of great information on Saxon math and how it works with the program. Thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.